Welcome to Knightline, the morning after, on ESPN 580 Orlando, WDBO. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello, this is Andrew Phegley coming to you from the VictoryCasino.com stuff. I messed it up again. Coming to you from the VictoryCasinoCruises.com studios on ESPN 580 Orlando. Kyle, what's up, man? You're here as well with me?
I am. I made it on time today.
All right. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. Chase is with us in the other room as well. Chase, how are you?
I'm recovering. I'm recovering.
Yeah.
Still angry.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's definitely what my feeling is, too. Yesterday, I felt hungover, and I did not drink a single drop of alcohol during the game.
Yeah.
I literally felt hungover, and that's not a good thing for me, personally. It's just the way that it felt. So we're going to be talking here about UCF loss, unfortunately, 31-34 at Tulsa. What I'm calling, quote, unquote, a complete meltdown. I think that's what happened. The whole thing melted down. You can give us a call, by the way, 844-225-5580 on the Dever team line, or give us a text, 21232 on the Little Greek Fresh Grill text line. Or you can tweet me at AP_Knightline on Twitter. So I guess let's get right into this. The questions that I have that I want people to talk about when they call. First of all, this Fire Heupel thing that's going around. He's 18-4 at UCF. Why would you want to fire a guy that's 18-4?
Well, I'm not in the corner of firing Heupel, and there's a lot of people out there that are starting that conversation or trying to start that conversation. I think, obviously, there's frustration, and this is one of those games that probably doesn't add validity to this sentiment, but it at least continues that conversation and is going to force us to talk about it because people are talking about it. I don't think there's any remote chance that we should fire Heupel right now. I think, I mean, it just feels weird and wrong even saying that.
Yeah.
But the reality is that when you lose on the road to a 2-7 football team that you're much, much better than from a talent perspective, and you do it in the fashion that we did, which was with mistakes. It's not like Tulsa just had their best game of the season and beat us. 3 turnovers. I think something like, we're going to get into it later, 15 penalties.
Yeah.
When you lose like that, then you got to start asking those questions because we had the better football team.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. This, I've backed up and stood up for Heupel all season long.
Yeah.
When all these people keep telling me, oh, we need to get rid of him. Oh, he's not the guy. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. He can't coach. He can't, call plays. And, I mean, I'll stand up for him still, but, the thing that bothers me is the discipline that the team is showing.
Yeah.
Making stupid penalties, a little bit of arguing on the field, and I'll explain what I know about that a little bit later. But the penalties, number one, we had 15 for 120 yards. That is down the football field and 20 yards back.
That is a lot of penalties, and that's a number of penalties that change the course of the game. You have 5, 6, 7 penalties. You can survive that. But
right.
When you have 15 for 120 yards, you're changing the dynamic of the football game. And when you're on the road, in the freezing cold weather, I mean, you need everything going your way, and you certainly can't, hurt yourself. And that's what we did constantly. And the games that we've lost this season have been from our own mistakes. Yeah, teams played good at times, but not phenomenal enough to beat us, outright.
So, Chase, you got anything to add?
No, I think it's like, since when did we act like FSU fans? Like, 2 years in and already we want to get rid of this coach that's 18-4. Like, at least on, like, Willie Taggart's sake, like, yeah, they had a losing team. But do we all forget that we went undefeated last season? And all of a sudden, like,
Oh, but that was Scott Frost. That had nothing to do with Josh Heupel.
That's the thing, is that we're doing this immediate comparison because Scott Frost left us and he didn't get fired. He left us, and so we hold him to like a better light, a higher ground. And I think that's what we immediately do is like, oh, Scott Frost wouldn't have lost this game, and so I feel like everybody's immediate reaction is fire somebody. But I do think though that this Tulsa loss has to be like the worst loss that we've had in a very long time. Like, at least since the 0-15 season.
Yeah, and when you think about when the level of our team, the stretch that we've had, I think 2016, losing to Arkansas State in a bowl game is a game we should have really never lost. But 0-15 the 2015 season is probably one of the last games that I think of that was
Does this compare to losing to Furman at home?
No. I mean, that was way worse.
That was probably the worst
that
loss.
was way worse.
Yeah.
You got it.
I mean, another thing that we need to remember, when was the last time any UCF team, basketball, football, whatever, won at Tulsa? Never.
I don't think ever.
Ever. Never.
Which is
really weird.
Really strange.
It's a vortex of like energy or something, I think is what you were saying before we went on.
Well, I mean, when you go to Tulsa, and I have been there not for one of our games, but seen their stadium, and you look on TV, it's almost like their home field advantage is the fact that there's nobody there. It's like a high school football game. There's no energy. I said that going into it. Our team was going to have to create that energy because the game environment wasn't going to spark our team or get us going.
I think we did okay in the first half.
We did.
I mean, the first half, obviously, we were winning at halftime and all that stuff. It really fell off from there.
I don't want to sound like the guy that's past his times, but it is interesting to me to watch our football team in warm-ups and to see how loose they are. There's a level of looseness that you want your team to play with that is good, I think. And then there is a lack of focus. And when you have guys doing photo shoots for social media to be posted on our Facebook and Twitter pages and all these things before the game, and I get it. That's part of, marketing who we are and those sorts of things. But I think that that can create some distraction, and I think that can create a lack of focus. And I just feel like we are very loose, which I would want to play loose as a player, but there's a fine line there.
Right.
And I went back and looked at some social media from that night, and we are doing all types of photo shoots pregame with our players. I'm not a huge fan of that, to be honest with you.
Do you think that we are too arrogant as a team after going undefeated for 2 seasons and naturally having the expectation of no matter what we're going to win, so why bother?
Arrogance is probably a strong word, but a false sense of security is probably how I would define that.
Right.
Like, you got to go out and you got to beat people.
Right.
And you got to beat them down.
One of the things, that I feel is that, I mean, what is the deal with we play one way completely differently at home. Yeah. We look like, we could, beat anybody at home. We look like we could beat, anybody at home. We go on the road and it's a completely different thing. It's 100% different. I still say, I think there's something with the way that the road, travel is managed or something that the coaching staff is doing that prevents us from playing the way that we play at home. There can't be just that much energy in the bounce house.
Well,
there can't be.
It's so weird because you think 2 weeks ago we go up to Philly
and played
we
fairly decent. Yeah.
63 points.
Right.
And so there's inconsistency. I think that's the underlining tone that maybe we're seeing here is that there is inconsistency week to week in our performance, in our focus, in my opinion. And I think that on a short week, we thought we were going to go out to Tulsa on a Friday night, kind of just roll over them because we have better players. And that mentality from a coaching staff perspective, again, that's my assumption. That's not what I know.
Right.
And from a player, that's dangerous and toxic. And these type of losses can spiral you in a different direction if you're not very, very careful.
So all of these things that we've talked about, though, go back and should fall pretty much on the head coach, correct?
Most of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not for firing Josh Heupel. Mm-hmm. I am for Josh Heupel taking a very, long look in the mirror, though, at himself and his staff and seeing what he can fix now.
Yeah.
Immediately. And I would expect Danny White to have some kind of conversation with him. I would expect that.
When you are going out and raising the type of funds that Danny White is currently doing and pounding the pavement as hard as his staff, Mark Wright, Mike Morsberger, those guys are going out there trying to, get money to support this program, it's staggering and it hurts. And it's like a punch in the face when you go on the road and lose to Tulsa like that. Now, I don't think that our real donors and the people that are considering making those contributions are that fickle where one game's going to make a decision, but you've got to be very, very conscious of what's taking place because right now we're pushing hard for the future.
Absolutely. All right, I want to remind everybody you can call us at 844-225-5580 or text us at 21232. This is Andrew Phegley, Kyle Israel, Chase, is it Bunker?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I never say your last name there, and I apologize for that, but Chase Bunker from now on. And we're here. This is Knightline the morning after, and we're talking about this UCF football loss. And, we're all a little bit dumbfounded, I think, of just how this all has happened. And I'm saying that for me anyway.
I feel the same way.
I don't understand it, but I think at this point this has to come down to coaching and the way that this team is coached and I don't know what.
Well, it was interesting the other night because we had guys step up and make plays offensively. Gabe Davis wasn't as integral of a piece as we've seen him be in the past, and that forced some other guys to step up. And I do need to rewatch the game. I didn't have a chance yesterday, but in real time, we looked a bit out of sync from periods of that game. And then, there's probably some questionable calls, as far as throwing the ball deep on fourth down and just taking shots that maybe weren't there. But offensively, I think we had a good rhythm throughout the game, and then got completely out of sync as well. So it is a head-scratching scenario. All
right, we got a couple texts here. Lewis from Worcester, Mass. I'm not ever going to mess that up again. Fans have to be very mindful of their reactions on social media. This has repercussions on recruiting for athletics and UCF as a whole. And then somebody says, "Hi, Kyle. I'm curious about what did O'Leary do to ensure great discipline from the teams in your era? What do you consider the root causes of poor discipline?"
Mm-hmm. I mean, for the discipline, I don't know how much time we have before we go to the break here, but the discipline for Coach O'Leary, he managed by fear. I don't know any other way to say it. So. You didn't want to make mistakes as a quarterback. I obviously didn't want to make mistakes, but you paid for it on Mondays. I mean, obviously everything is tracked, and you knew you had a grade for each game, and on Mondays you kind of paid the price for penalties that you had. I remember I had a personal foul penalty for yelling at the ref one time that I did 100 yards of up downs every 5 yards that next Monday. So there is a level of punishment, which is natural in life, right?
And I wonder if that's going on here.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I really wonder. I would love to be a fly on the wall out there.
The thing with Coach O'Leary is we knew at that time in our program, and so did Coach O'Leary, like we had to play extremely sound football to win games. Like we weren't going to overpower people with talent, and we had to be precise, and we all knew that, and he preached that. So we knew we didn't have room for mistakes if we wanted to win, and there were many times we didn't win because we did make mistakes. But discipline is critical, and that starts with a head coach, and then filters through the players.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just feel like that's what needs to be happening. If that's not happening, that's an issue. I guess every coach has the ability to train his team the way that he wants to, but I just feel like that we're seeing that kind of a thing happen where he's letting them be too loose, and maybe that's what we really need to do to get everything back together. I mean, maybe use a little bit of fear, maybe use a little bit of punishment. Well, and that's the way that we do it.
When Coach Frost came in, he needed to really change the mindset of the players and really reframe their perspective coming off of Coach O'Leary's tenure. and make it more player friendly and more relaxed. And it worked for us. We had guys respond extremely, extremely well to that. But, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, some of those guys are gone. And, some of the strong personalities that we had on this football team over the years, Shaquem, a number of other guys that have moved on, they helped kind of regulate the team. And Nate Evans is obviously a guy that's clearly a leader and tries to be a vocal leader, but we still need the players to take accountability, because I'll tell you what, if I lost a football game like that and we had 15 penalties and I'm looking at my teammates and going, what the hell is going on? I'd be frustrated as a leader on that football team.
All right, we're going to take a little break here. We'll be right back on Knightline the morning after.
It's back. Join us for a round of golf on one of Orlando's most historic golf courses at ESPN 580 Orlando's second annual golf tournament at Dubs Dread, Monday, December 9th. Presented by Fountain Buick GMC. Enjoy a round of golf with some of your favorite former pro athletes, local personalities, and sports-themed holes and activities. Event starts at 7 a.m. with tee time at 8 a.m. and best ball wins. ESPN 580 Orlando, the golf tournament, presented by Fountain Buick GMC, is brought to you by In-Phase Electric, Bic Razors, and Yingling Lager. Register online now at ESPN580Orlando.com.
The biggest sale of the year at International Diamond Center is coming November 15th through 17th. It's a 3-day, $30 million event with extra savings store-wide. Plus 30-month zero-interest financing. November 15th, 16th, and 17th at International Diamond Center on approved credit.
Oviedo Brewing Company is the hottest microbrewery in Central Florida. Located 7 miles from UCF at the Oviedo Mall, this 8,800 square foot brewery just opened its doors 6 months ago and has already crafted 13 unique beer flavors and counting in their tap room. The tap room contains different styles of beverages, including ciders, wines, and craft sodas. Not only do they have amazing beers, they also have a full kitchen with gourmet pizzas, wings, and tacos. Oviedo Brewing has activities for each day of the week, such as Taco Tuesdays, Trivia Wednesdays, Pizza and Pint on Thursdays, plus live music on Friday and Saturday evening. But the best is Sunday brunch with unlimited beer mimosas. Need a spot for game day? Oviedo Brewing is just the place with their large TVs to catch all the live games. You also find Oviedo Brewing at UCF tailgating sampling beers. And OBC support for the Knights doesn't stop there. If you need a spot for UCF away games, come to Oviedo Brewing Company. You can get all the details on their Instagram or Facebook page. Follow them at Oviedo Brewing CO. Download the Untapped app, and you can find out what beers are on tap. The food menu is also available on their website, OviedoBrewingCO.com.
Good morning, class. A quick head count. Tiffany.
Here.
Zach.
Yup.
Steven. Steven. Is he absent again?
For many kids, just getting to school feels like a challenge. Staying through graduation is even harder. That's where Communities in Schools comes in. A powerful community of caring adults, working with vulnerable kids in schools every day, helping them overcome the barriers that stand in the way of learning. Hunger, homelessness, health problems, and even emotional trauma. Communities in Schools. We're inside schools partnering with teachers and counselors, empowering at-risk kids by providing supportive relationships, doing whatever it takes to help them thrive in school and have brighter futures. Communities in Schools. We're in schools to help kids stay in school. See how we help all kids succeed at communitiesinschools.org.
Island H2O Live, a new wave of water park.
Experience the next generation of fun at Island H2O Live. You choose the music, you choose the lighting, and you choose where to share your memorable moments at Florida's newest and most immersive water park.
Island H2O Live.
Now open in Kissimmee, located off US 192 and State Road 429 on Inspiration Boulevard.
Island H2O Live.
Whether it's on AM 580, FM 96.5 HD2, Alexa, or Google Home, we are everywhere you hear audio. ESPN 580 Orlando, Orlando's home for the biggest events in sports.
And now, back to Knightline, the morning after, on ESPN 580 Orlando, WDBO. Call now at 844-225-5580 or text at 21232.
All right, that is correct. We are back on Knightline the morning after, live from the Victory Casino Cruises.com studio. Didn't mess it up this time. Taking your calls at 844-225-5580, 844-225-5580 on the Dever team line, and at 21232, taking text on the Little Greek Fresh Grill text line. Here with Kyle Israel and Chase Bunker. And we're talking about this UCF loss, 31-34 at Tulsa, quote unquote, a complete meltdown. So, yeah.
Meltdown in the freezing cold.
Yeah. Well, like a nuclear meltdown.
Yeah.
It seemed like everything just fell apart. It just, once one thing goes wrong, I feel like also once Heupel gets frustrated with maybe play calling, he kind of like, I don't know what happens. His own play call. Yeah, I mean, maybe he's frustrated with what's going on the field or whatever, but it seems like he panics in a way. It does. I'm going to go with that, and I've tried to deny all this stuff. I have, because I'm a guy that will support my head coach.
Yeah.
When everybody wanted everybody else fired, I supported them too. I wasn't a huge George O'Leary fan, you know that.
Yeah.
But I guess now, though, it's time for him to take a little bit more responsibility. And I'm going to play this clip here real quick. This is Josh Heupel in his opening statement, and I think he actually does that. He takes a little bit more responsibility for what's going on out there.
Our football team love our program, and obviously weren't good enough tonight, and that starts with me. And it's disappointing, and got a bye week here, get some guys healthy, and then learn the lessons from this one and move forward as we go along.
All right, well, he said it starts with him.
Yeah, it does start with him.
It does. I mean, it absolutely does. So,
and right now, this is a very important time of the season for us. You're looking at season ticket renewals, where in my section specifically, they're raising prices 33%. There's a number of things that our athletic administration team is pushing right now that don't coincide with the timeliness of this loss. I mean, it's just not the right time of year and the right momentum that we're looking for currently. It's even more kind of chilling to go into a bye week, with a loss. So it's a bit head scratching. But if you're Danny White or the administration, we need to finish really, really strong, because we got to keep some momentum going into the offseason.
Absolutely. Hey, let's talk to Andrew from Oviedo on the Dever team line here. He wants to air his frustration. Andrew, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
I don't think I've ever heard you sound like that.
Well, this one is hard to fathom. I mean, I know, Kyle, remember how you said that you're not a fan of ECU?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Tulsa.
Yeah.
Your equal frustration with ECU is my frustration with Tulsa. Mm-hmm. Ever since they beat us in 2005 in the conference championship game, I've just had some disdain for them. Mm-hmm. But this one takes it to a new level. I mean, you have a 2-7 Tulsa team that on paper has one of the worst statistical categories in the conference, much less the entire Division I, and we just get completely outdone. I mean, by our own mistakes. I mean, who would think a school in Oklahoma the size of Monday morning I-4 traffic would be such a hard place to play in? I just don't. I don't get it. But I mean, the penalties. I mean, we had 15, they had 5. We had 3 turnovers, they had 0. I mean, they almost equaled their entire season
in sacks
against us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just sitting there wondering, like, what other statistical category are they going to match by placing us? And then nothing's complete without the bonehead 13, 12 men on the field with that last chance to play. I mean, I couldn't tell if it was a football game or a comedy. I was just baffled.
At that point, the meltdown was full on. I mean, obviously.
I can't fathom how more things we can mess up. I mean, I get mistakes happen, but I mean, the muffed punt I did not expect, but now because this has happened, I'm now holding my breath every time we on kickoff returns now. Usually I wasn't. Now I'm going to have to hold my breath to hopefully nothing happens.
Okay, hey Andrew, thank you very much for calling, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Chase, you got something to say here.
To make us feel a little bit better, Tulsa, at least they lost to Memphis because of a missed field goal, and they almost beat SMU in triple overtime. Mm-hmm. So this isn't like an abysmal Tulsa team.
And they couldn't win it because of missed field goals.
Because of missed field goals.
That was the entire deal. So they were.
Yeah, they could be this is a 3-7 team, but that also could be like a 5-win team as well. So it's not exactly the worst loss, but it also, if it helps take away the sting just a little bit.
To be honest with you, as much as bad as I felt about UCF as a competitor, I had this little nugget of good for you, Tulsa. And I know, Andrew, you said you have disdain for Tulsa, and I do too, but I was pulling for ECU last week very heavily.
Right.
But there was this part of me that was like, you know what? Tulsa, good for you. You've had to watch UCF for the last 2 years dominate the conversation in our conference. We didn't come and play our best football game, and you took advantage of it. And as a competitor, you can kind of tip your hat to that and say, you guys should feel good about yourselves for getting a win over us because we didn't deserve to win that football game.
Absolutely not.
And secondly, the penalties, the referees, I'll be honest, the referees were very, very questionable. The holding on Parker Boudreaux and Adrian Killen's long run, if he didn't take him to the ground, he probably doesn't get holding on that call.
Right.
There were some questionable calls throughout the game that I don't know that all 15 of those penalties were legitimate. But, part of me tips my hat to Tulsa because they took advantage of an opportunity.
I think there was quite a bit of pass interference as well that didn't get called. And I guess they were letting those guys play a little bit. And we all, appreciate that sometimes when they do that. But then when it's the opposite way, we don't appreciate it.
No.
So I am totally with you on the Parker Boudreaux thing. Yes, he had his hands on the outside. He was kind of giving him a bear hug.
Yeah.
But still, that happens all the time.
All the time.
And does not get called. There were all kinds of things that happen that don't get called. We should have had a targeting penalty, personally, on the hit against Dylan Gabriel where his helmet popped off. I thought he was dead, to be honest with you.
Well, I've been working in the world of concussions more lately, and when he took that under the chin and then took a hit on the other side of the head by the guy's hip, I was like, we should make a comment now. Dylan Gabriel's one tough cookie.
Absolutely.
One tough kid.
Yeah.
If there's anything else, listen, I still feel, even after some turnovers and those, I feel great about where we are from an offensive perspective long term. We have a true freshman in here. Okay, listen, that gets old after a while because we're 9 games into a season or 10 games into a season, but we're still in really good shape moving forward, and he is a tough competitor.
And for all the people that are talking crap on Dylan Gabriel, we're going to have some stats here in a little while. At some point, I don't know if you want to do it now or do we want to take
it now?
Okay,
yeah, let's do it
now real quick.
So, all right. So here's the first 9 games: 194 completions, 336 attempts. That's a 57% completion rating, and just under 2,000 yards, 10 interceptions or 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Oh, I'm sorry. Those were Mackenzie Milton's freshman numbers.
Yeah, freshman numbers.
Yeah.
Those are
Mackenzie Milton's freshman numbers. 175 to 289, 60% completion rating, 2,800 yards completion, 24 TDs, 7 interceptions. So please get off that train that's Dylan Gabriel, and you should bring in Darryl Mack.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, those statistics, I would have done anything to have statistics like that and a record like we do right now as a true freshman quarterback when I was playing. I mean, we there was no chance of us winning games at periods in my career when we were playing. Like, we didn't have a chance to win the game. But with Dylan Gabriel, listen, he's got a 60% completion percentage, and he throws the ball over 30 yards like 30% of the time. So all of those are a little bit magnified. If he was throwing screens of these little hitch routes, he'd even have a better completion percentage. I think part of that is the offense, naturally. But you got to feel good about where we are because he's outpacing and outperforming where Mackenzie Milton was at this time in his true freshman year.
So, in your opinion, Kyle, as a quarterback in college and beyond, do we have anything better on the bench? For all these people that say we have better players on the bench than Dylan Gabriel.
I do not think that if we're looking for somebody to go out there and consistently execute what we're asking quarterbacks to execute, I think Dylan's the best option. Can DJ Mack bring different things to the table? Yes. Would he have been a good change-up at times Friday night? Probably.
Yeah.
But Dylan Gabriel as our starter and for the long-term future, I think gives us the best thing, and best chance to win. And think of it this way. If you're Heupel, DJ Mack is not your guy. You didn't bring him in here. And frankly, Mackenzie Milton wasn't your guy. You didn't bring him in here. You did bring Dylan Gabriel in. You want to build your program around him. You're telling wide receivers that you're recruiting, you get to come play with this guy for 3 more years.
Right.
And so you have got to build confidence in Dylan. You've got to show him that we're going to stick with you through the ups and the downs. We're going to experience these frustrations together. And you got to move forward. But if you're Coach Heupel and you can't decide on who your guy is week in and week out, then that shows a lack of potential trust that the team may have in you based on your decision making. So I think going with Dylan, sticking with Dylan this far into the season is the right thing to do.
Now, real quick before we go to break, do you think that Heupel should mix it up now and kind of similar to what Florida did in 06 with Leak and Tebow? Do you think that they should start making packages for both Wimbush and Darryl Mack Jr.?
Well, it looked like, based on what I saw 2 weeks ago, we do have packages for them. And so I thought that this game, being a short week, Friday game, that if we were going to utilize some of those packages when we knew Tulsa, had less time to prepare also, that this would be the game we'd see some of those packages. Cold weather, let's have some creative runs to get us some first downs here and there, or maybe in the red zone. But you didn't really see that. And I thought that this is a heavy word to use, but I almost felt like our play calling and our preparation for this game seemed a little lazy.
Yeah.
Is the way that I could best describe it. And I would never want to criticize a coach that goes in and works 15 hours a day for being lazy. But it didn't feel like we had the same preparation going to Tulsa. And I think that's something that's natural when you look at a 2-7 football team that's seemingly not very good. Everybody can sometimes get complacent, not just players.
All right, well, when we come back, we're going to take a little bit of a break here. And when we come back, we're going to have more from Josh Heupel. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the players arguing on the field, and we have a clip from Nate Evans as well.
If you are one of the millions of men suffering from ED or PE, Premier Men's Medical Center can help you in one visit, guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Tried Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra, and they've let you down? We can help you now. Call 407-270-3940. 407-270-3940. That's 407-270-3940.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
The biggest sale of the year at International Diamond Center is coming November 15th, 16th, and 17th. It's a 3-day, $30 million event with extra savings store-wide, plus 30 months zero-interest financing. Get that $2,000 Diamond Eternity Band and pay just $67 a month. Getting engaged, upgrading your diamond, looking for that perfect gift? You can't miss this. The year's best prices on all rings, all earrings, all bands, all bracelets, all fashion jewelry, even GIA-certified diamonds. November 15th through 17th at International Diamond Center, Orlando location. On approved credit.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline and Knightline Postgame Live. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org/FL. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Sports Center updates at the top and bottom of every hour.
And the latest breaking news in sports around the clock.
This is ESPN 580 Orlando. It's a huge NFC West matchup as the undefeated San Francisco 49ers welcome the Seattle Seahawks to Levi Stadium for a Monday Night Football showdown. Coverage begins at 7:30 right here on ESPN 580 and FM 96.5 HD2. Football lives here.
And now, back to Knightline, the morning after, on ESPN 580 Orlando, WDBO. Call now at 844-225-5580 or text at 21232.
All right, Andrew Phegley back here at the VictoryCasinoCruises.com studio. Kyle Israel, Chase Bunker also joins me, taking your calls at 844-225-5580 on the Dever team line or texts at 21232 on the Little Greek Fresh Grill text line, or you can tweet me at AP_Knightline Twitter. We got a couple calls coming in, so we'll get to those here in just a second. I do want to talk a little bit about this, the players arguing on the field thing. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit more complicated than what was going on, what it looked like on TV, mm-hmm. I think. There's more going on out there than people realize sometimes, and we talk about players flopping a lot against us. We don't realize sometimes that happens as us as well. Mm-hmm. That happens. It happens. I don't care, if you want to deny that or not. It happens. It happens in every football game. It happens. What you witnessed the other night was that happening. It just didn't happen at the right time. Yeah, basically. And what was going on out there with Nate Evans and
Kenny
Neville Clark?
Or Neville.
Yeah. They were telling the guy, get up, this is not the time to do this. That was fourth down. You don't do that. There's no reason to do that on fourth down.
To lay on the field still.
Yeah.
And be, quote-unquote, injured.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was what was going on there. I have a clip from Nate Evans that I want to play here, and then we're going to get to the phone calls. Here's Nate Evans talking about that.
It wasn't really a confrontation. I just, I didn't want my brothers to give up on me. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't give up on them. And that's all it was. We cry together, we bleed together. We tired together on the field. So we just gotta suck it up. We gotta fight through it. And that's all it was, man. I just didn't want my brothers to give up on me because I was tired too, and of course I wouldn't give up on them, and they all know that.
All right, here's a quote from Nate Evans as well on Twitter from yesterday, because people were coming down on him really hard. Sorry if my intensity on the field offends any of you. I just love the game, and I love playing the game with my brothers. Heart. I wouldn't give up on the team, and I can't let the team give up on me. Everyone stay blessed. So that's what was going on. Really what we saw there, unfortunately, it looked bad on national television because most people don't know what's going on in that situation. So it looked like
including us in the moment.
Right. Including us in the moment, me being the same, but he was looking at the player and basically saying, get up. This is not the time to do this. Get up.
No.
What are you doing? And it looked bad on national television. It did. But really what we saw was leadership.
We did see leadership. And bad is maybe relative, right? Bad to the person that doesn't know what's going on. But to me, it did look like leadership. It did look like somebody that was saying, hey, we're going to lose this football game if we don't take the steps to continue forward. It's a bit head-scratching at times, and it's a little bit concerning when you see your teammates arguing with each other, fighting with each other. Number one, it happens quite more often than most people anticipate. And number two, sometimes when you see that, or if you see another team doing that, you start to feel like you're getting the upper hand in the football game. And so I was a bit concerned when I saw that because there's underlying something there. But I would never, ever criticize Nate Evans for trying to show leadership, intensity, especially when at that point in time, our season, for whatever it was worth, was on the line.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, we're going to go to the phones here real quick. We have Chad on the line, wants to talk about Heupel's lack of execution. Chad.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing good, Chad. How are you?
Good. First-time caller. Love the shows. Love what you guys are doing there.
Appreciate it.
I wanted to talk about the end-of-the-game situation there and the lack of awareness from coaching. I'm sure you could speak on this, Kyle, but I've been around football a long time, and this is basic elementary here. When you have coming out of a timeout and you have 13, not even 12, but 13 guys on the field, it's pretty inexcusable. It really seems to me that Heupel's spending a lot of time at the Golden Corral buffet, and it's a real jive turkey on the road and can't get it together. What do you think the explanation is for 13 guys on the field coming out of a timeout?
Well, that's a good question, Chad. I frankly, I don't know that there is an explanation. I don't really. That's how I feel about it. Like when we have 13 men on the field coming out of that scenario, I mean, we can still win the football game. I mean, we make that stop right there. We turn around. We're 20 yards away from being in field goal range and potentially scoring a touchdown. So, Chad, that is the head-scratching moment of the night, in my opinion. Coach Heupel is right there next to the down marker. There's just no justification for that. It really not even at a high school level, a middle school level. If you were a parent and a Pop Warner coach had 13 men on the field in that situation, you'd lose your mind at that coach. And so I don't know how to justify that. And you said you
kind of saw him over there on the sideline really just kind of standing there.
It looked like with about 2 or 3, 4 seconds before the flag was actually thrown when the play was run, he kind of had this like look on his face that was like, oh, crap. I hope we don't get caught for this. And
I mean, if you stand there and wave your arms and go crazy, you're going to bring more attention to it. Yeah. So we got a text here, and I want to address this real quick. How can you say a freshman quarterback is better than the guy that stepped up and carried the team and was your MVP last year?
Well, I think that there's a couple of things. Number one, DJ Mack won that football game with his feet. He really did. That second half, I think he had 4 rushing touchdowns. And listen, for whoever sent that text in, I've been supportive of DJ Mack since the day that he stepped in for McKenzie. But you go back and look at him at ACU on the road last year, wasn't that impressive at all. He obviously had to play really well in the second half of that football game, which he did. And I'll say that I still think DJ Mack had the best half of any player in UCF history against Memphis in the conference championship. So I hear that sentiment. But he also broke his foot or broke his ankle or did something to his lower extremity before the season.
Broke his ankle.
Broke his ankle that was self-imposed. Okay, that was off football, playing basketball.
And then supposedly didn't tell the staff exactly the way that it happened.
So I'm sure
wasn't truthful about it, supposedly.
So I think that there was probably some built up issue there. And then I think that Dylan Gabriel, the way that he played against Stanford, he's had incredible moments in this season. And so that's why I don't think that you put DJ in there as a starter, especially this far down the road. However, I do think to his point that DJ does bring something to the table that could at least add an extra element or threat to our offense and allow us to change things up from time to time.
And we've said multiple times that we think that Dylan should be spelled every once in a while, and this was a perfect example of when that could have happened.
Let me say this different. If we were going into the season and DJ Mack was healthy, I believe he should have been our starting quarterback. I mean, don't get me wrong. He should have been the starter going into the season, but we lost that opportunity with his injury, and then you got to play a ton of scenarios from there moving forward. We got another freshman quarterback coming in next year that's pretty good. We got Dylan here for 3 years. Where does DJ Mack end up? Who knows? Maybe not with UCF.
Potential McKenzie coming back to do something. We're not sure.
For those of you who are also saying that Daryl Mack is great, I want to give you some numbers. ECU, 12 of 20 for 69 yards, 22 rushes for 120 yards.
Okay.
USF, 5 for 14 for 81 yards, 10 rushes for 51. Memphis, we already know his stats, 19 of 27, 348, 2 touchdowns, 18 rushes, 59 yards. Fiesta Bowl, 11 for 30, 97 yards, and 11 rushes for -3 yards. That is 3 games, mind you, that he has not thrown 100 yards in a fast-paced offense.
We also know that he has a tendency to lose the football. That's a big deal when your quarterback has a tendency like that. During that American Championship game, he lost the football at least 3 times.
And then versus LSU. So, yes, let's
pump the brakes a little bit here, folks.
Yeah, let's
really look at what you're trying to say here. You're trying to say that he that played 3 games for UCF last year is better than Dylan Gabriel is going to be a superstar. Maybe he doesn't run the ball like McKenzie does, but he sure throws it. I mean, it's crazy talk. Crazy talk.
I still believe that Dylan is going to turn in. McKenzie is a transcendent player. There's no doubt about it. We've had a handful over the years. Kevin Smith, transcendent. McKenzie, transcendent. Shaquem, same thing. Dylan Gabriel, 24 months from now, is going to have evolved into, bar any injury, a transcendent player for this university. And I think that getting these games out of the way right now as a true freshman, does it hurt? Hell yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It does.
But the future is bright with this.
Big time bright. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back on Knightline the morning after.
It's back. Join us for a round of golf on one of Orlando's most historic golf courses at ESPN 580 Orlando's second annual golf tournament at Dubstred, Monday, December 9th. Presented by Fountain Buick GMC. Enjoy a round of golf with some of your favorite former pro athletes, local personalities, and sports-themed holes and activities. Event starts at 7 a.m. with tee time at 8 a.m. and best ball wins. ESPN 580 Orlando, the golf tournament, presented by Fountain Buick GMC, is brought to you by In-Phase Electric, Bic Razors, and Yingling Lager. Register online now at ESPN580Orlando.com.
The biggest sale of the year at International Diamond Center is coming November 15th through 17th. It's a 3-day, $30 million event with extra savings store-wide. Plus 30-month zero-interest financing. November 15th, 16th, and 17th at International Diamond Center. On approved credit.
You've heard us talk about the great food at our good friend Kyle Israel's restaurant, The Little Greek Fresh Grill. The Little Greek now has franchises available. Please call 407-697-2272. That's 407-697-2272 to see what The Little Greek can do for you. Also check out The Little Greek's newest location at 3131 Daniels Road, Suite 104, Winter Garden, Florida. The Little Greek Fresh Grill. Fresh, flavorful, fabulous.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org/FL. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Miami Dolphins look to capitalize on their big win against the New York Jets when they travel to Indianapolis and take on the Colts. Today, coverage begins at 2 p.m. with kickoff at 4:15 right here on ESPN 580 and FM 96.5 HD2.
And now, back to Knightline, the morning after, on ESPN 580 Orlando, WDBO. Call now at 844-225-5580 or text at 21232.
All right, Andrew Phegley, Kyle Israel, and Chase Bunker back from the Victory Casino Cruises.com studio. This is Knightline the morning after, and we're talking about the UCF loss. Chase, you brought something up in the break that we haven't discussed yet. Go ahead and talk about that real quick.
after the loss, I went onto Twitter at Chase Bunker, plug, and I vented out my frustrations. And this is why I got a few of these, but one of them stood out to me was about the intentional grounding.
Yeah.
Now, Kyle, you being the quarterback expert here, I thought it was kind of intentional grounding. What did you think?
See, I don't believe that scenario can be intentional grounding. A lot of our offense is built around route progressions based on what the defense is giving us. And so Dylan and Trey Nixon or whoever is out there at the wide receiver, they kind of have to be on the same page based on what, the defense is dictating. So if Dylan thought that the coverage showed that the wide receiver should run a fade route, and that wide receiver thought that the coverage showed that he should run a hitch route, well, then it's not an intentional grounding if Dylan is just throwing the ball to the wrong place. Now, the optics of it may look like intentional grounding, but I think that's where an official has to have some level of situational competence and go, well, he may not have been intentionally grounding that. He may have just thought the wide receiver was running a deep route. And so I don't think that that's a point in the game where you can call intentional grounding because there's too many variables to call that there, in my opinion. I think that Dylan thought the receiver was running a fade. He ran a hitch, and unfortunately, we were on the wrong side of that penalty.
All right, well, we got to get this in really quick. There was a lot of other games that were played in the American this week, and my friend Jeff Allen has this to say about all that stuff.
Time now to take a look around the American. Shane Buechele threw for 414 yards and 5 touchdowns as number 25 SMU outlasted East Carolina 59-51. Holton Ahlers tossed 6 TDs in defeat for the Pirates. The Mustangs moved to 9-1 on the year, 5-1 in conference to hold a half-game lead over Memphis. But the Tigers own the tiebreaker with last week's win over the Ponies. ECU falls to 3-7, 0-6 in conference. Number 20 Cincinnati rolled to an easy 48-3 win over UConn. The Bearcats go to 8-1, 5-0 in conference play to lead the East by 2 games. The Huskies drop to 2-8, 0-6 in league play. Thursday night, Jagger Gardner rushed for a career-high 133 yards as Temple moved to 6-3, 3-2 in conference with a 17-7 win over South Florida. The Bulls fall to 4-5, 2-3 in conference. Memphis, Navy, Houston, and Tulane were all idle this week. I'm Jeff Allen. We will break down Week 11 and set up Week 12 in football action, including our Spotlight Game of the Week. I'll have my nickels worth on UCF because 2 cents is not enough on their 34-31 loss at Tulsa. And we'll have highlights of the first week of college basketball. All that and more on this week's AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
All right, thank you very much to Jeff Allen for that. If you haven't listened to that show, you can find it on anywhere you find podcasts on the Knightline Sports Network.
He does a phenomenal job.
He does an awesome job.
That's
Has
not
great
easy work
guests
right there.
on there. No, when he approached me to do something else, I asked him if he would do this, and he does it, and it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Okay, we got a couple minutes left here. I want to say I hate being the guy that tells all the fans that they're not saying the right thing. We're not trying to just come at you guys. We're just trying to explain it a little bit, I guess. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to dog everybody. We're just trying to explain what's going on and maybe put a little bit of sense. I love that the UCF fans are passionate.
No
They've
doubt.
never been this passionate before.
Nope.
And I love that they're passionate. I just want to be smart about this, and I want everybody to understand what's really going on.
I just think everybody, we are all part of this. If you're a fan, you're all part of the same group, the same collective. We all, have the same goals. You just got to be careful of the optics. And I got to say that to myself sometimes when I post on Twitter. I've tried to be a little bit more center of the road a little bit. And I made a comment yesterday about UCF fans needed to pump the brakes, and I got some backlash, and people were like, no, I'd rather have a passionate fan base. And I've been saying it for 15 years. I'd rather have a passionate fan base. But we got to be careful of the optics. We got to be careful because the players see and feel everything. In my day, I didn't know what the fans were saying. I had no clue. I saw the newspaper, but now somebody turns on their phone and sees everything that our fan base is saying. We need to be careful because these players see this. That's part of it. But the optics aren't always good, and we need to be aware of that.
Any final thoughts from you, Chase?
I'll say the same thing that I said on Twitter, that was probably the most undisciplined that we've seen UCF play in a long time. Like, you can't just blame Heupel. You can't blame the defense. Like, that overall was a horrible game from the team as a whole. When you commit 3 turnovers, you don't deserve to win.
Yeah, there was a lot that we didn't even get to. We didn't even get to talk about how long the defense was on the field. So
no.
Well, we'll do this again next week at the same exact time on the exact same station that you're listening to now, ESPN 580 Orlando. This has been Nightline the Morning After. Thank you very